Hello, wrestling fans. I'm your host, Scottie Richardson of Wrestler Weekly. And this week on Wrestler Weekly Presents, we present 1981. 1981. I know you're excited. I'm excited. And a couple shout outs. One, Tommy Wildfire Rich. I think Jim Valley, when Tommy was on the podcast for Jim talked about this t-shirt, and you probably saw me wearing this down at WrestleCon this past spring. But I want to start out with a shout out to my man Scott Bowden, Kentucky Fried Wrestling on Facebook.com. You can follow him and just definitely go out there and like his stuff. But he and I had a great conversation about Tommy and winning the NWA title, and we're going to talk about that because it's the hot mag. You know, we talk about the hot tag, we talk about starting off hot. Well, this is it, man. The shirt, the mag, you can see it. This is the Wrestler, September of 1981. It says, "To Scotty, good luck." And that's Tommy Wildfire Rich with the NWA World title. And man, I had a great time this last month of August, and Tommy and Terry, his wife, were gracious enough to allow me to showcase 31 of his rare original photos. And so you can go out there, hashtag on Twitter, hashtag WWWildfire, if you want to check out those original rare photos from Tommy. But Scott and I had a great conversation, Scott Bowden of Kentucky Fried Wrestling, and we had a great conversation about Tommy and winning the NWA title and then losing the NWA title to Harley Race. And so we're going to start off Wrestler Weekly Presents 1981 with Tommy Wildfire Rich and the 10 pounds of gold. Now we go to number 2. I have 11 magazines this week. And this one says, "To my man, Scotty." And this is the very first, this is from July, the Sports Review, 1981. Would you believe that this is the very first Tommy Wildfire Rich autograph that I ever got? Right here. Now, if you remember the bonus episode from last week with Hulk Hogan, and by the way, if you have not seen 1980, episode 5, 1979, episode 4, 1978, episode 3, 77, number 2, and then obviously we started with a compilation between 1972 and 76 in episode 1. Go to YouTube. You can check those out on our YouTube channel, Wrestler Weekly. But back then, we talked about on the back of a magazine, the showcase, that ad of the wrestling album number 5. And this was one of those little pictures of the back cover. So I was happy to get Tommy to sign that. It was the very first Tommy Wildfire Rich autograph. Now, talking about another bonus episode we did in episode, 4? I showcased my favorite mag with Nature Boy Ric Flair with the U.S. title, the Mid-Atlantic U.S. title, the red alligator. Well, here it is again. This is a great mag. Fall of 1981, Best of the Wrestler. My good buddy David Brown, he likes this one. More so than the one that I showcased in my bonus episode. But this is a great mag, you know, with the U.S. title. Only 2 mags featuring Ric Flair on the cover with the U.S. title, the red U.S. title. And these are the 2. That one, and obviously the one from 1980. No, 1979. I don't even know. I got so many magazines. Who knows? So here we go. Now, I met Terry Funk. This is a Terry Funk. And we had a great conversation about this magazine because this is October of 81, The Wrestler. And this is when he actually wrestled his brother, Dory Funk Jr. And so we had a great conversation how they really didn't want to do this match, but one of those promoters, and they thought it would get a big house, and obviously it did, but Terry signed this one. Moving on to August of 1981, The Wrestler. This one, Hey Scottie. Signed Hey Scottie. This is another back cover of wrestling album number 5, Ted DiBiase. This is, obviously everyone knows Ted DiBiase is the $1 Million Man, but this is the Ted DiBiase that was running through Georgia and running through the Mid-South and just wreaking havoc wherever he went. What a phenomenal wrestler Ted DiBiase was. Speaking of phenomenal wrestlers, we know AJ Styles is the phenomenal one, but I would stack this guy up against any of them. Inside Wrestling, which is my favorite mag. This is from October of 81. Harley Race. The man himself, the king, if you will, wrestling Dusty Rhodes. And I like this one because, look, Dusty with the NWA title. You know me, big belt mark, and then obviously Dusty with the belt, but signed by Harley Race. Very good magazine. And I did this once before, and why not do it again? I mean, this is my show, but you know me, I love Inside Wrestling, and I love... when I was a kid, I would open it up and I would find that center. If I can find it here, here we go. The ratings. This is what I used to love. And I would let's see, who's at the top now? This is a good one because it's a rare one with Dusty Rhodes in there with Bob Backlund and Nick Bockwinkel, and they all have their titles. I mean, I just couldn't wait to get these types of magazines growing up as a kid. So thought I'd give you a little look there. I like to show those on my Friday ratings, my hashtag and theme throughout, whether it's Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram. You can follow us on all of them at Wrestler Weekly. Now this is a nice mag, Wrestling Superstars, spring of 1981. And this one is signed by Bruno Sammartino and Ric Flair. Now, my brother Reggie has this mag signed by all 5. And so, as I said last week, might have been last week, the week before, but I like to leave a little bit on the tree there so I can still go out and try to get some autographs. And so, Bob Backlund, Harley Race, Mil Mascaras, we'll see Mil at WrestleCade, plug there, in November. And so, hopefully, I can get those 3 completed. But Nature Boy Ric Flair, glad to see and hear that he's doing well and getting better every day. So our thoughts and prayers are continued with the Nature Boy. And then Bruno Sammartino, the living legend. All right, so let me knock down a couple of these, get a little room here. What do we got? 4 left. Now this is another great story on this one. This is from December of 1981. PWI. I know a lot of you love the PWIs, Pro Wrestling Illustrated. This is signed by Ken Patera and Tommy Wildfire Rich. Now, I just had Ken sign this one back at WrestleCon back in the spring. And, it was one of those things where we didn't know, my brother and I, Reggie, we walked in, we did not know that Bob Backlund was going to be there. And so we walk in, and I didn't have, all my stuff was in Jacksonville. We were in Orlando. I only brought a few things with me down to the show. And so I'm scrambling because I need some, I don't have my Backlund mags and all that kind of stuff. But Ken had just signed this mag. And when he signed it, I noticed at the top here that it said giant color pinup of Bob Backlund. And so, obviously, Bob signed it and took some photos, and we talked a little bit and had a great conversation. And so what I want to do is have a show, and I talked about this before, and the way we're going to break this up is we're going to do seasons, just like a normal show would do seasons. And so once we finish going kind of through the years, and we won't go, you're not going to see me do a show of 2006, and here's my MAGS. But once we get to a season-ending show, which somewhere around early 90s, I would say, then expect in season 2, when we have that wrestling show with the programs we talked about. I talked about doing a show of just my programs. I want to do one that's just posters, because I've got quite a few posters that are signed, and that's when you would see that Bob Backlund. So remind me if I forget it. All right, a couple more left. And I love this one. Best of the Wrestler Winter of 1981. Dusty Rhodes and Superstar Billy Graham. This is the Texas Bull Rope match these were classic matches in 1977. Superstar Billy Graham and Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream, both signed, and this is a rare mag to have both on it with this match. You can go on YouTube and find that match as well. Now this one is another rare one. This is PWI as well, and I'm just going to let you see this one. I thought about doing a show where I literally just say nothing and like a silent film and just keep rolling the mags over and just letting you come up with your own captions. But this is a rare magazine signed by all 3 of the Fabulous Freebirds. Look at that. Michael P.S. Hayes, Buddy Roberts, Terry Bam Bam Gordy, the Freebirds, all signed. All right. Last one, the Encore. This is such a, this has more probably sentimental value. Typically most people end on these two. These two are just classics. But this is sentimental. And I was on my buddy Simon's show, the New Era podcast, a few months ago. I was on his show and on his podcast, and I talked about when I got this mag. And I'm going to talk about it again on the bonus episode. How do you get our bonus episodes? Well, you go to wrestlerweekly.com and you subscribe at the bottom for free. I get an email and I just send you the link. It's that simple. It's free. That's simple. But here's what we're going to do on the bonus episode with Ricky Steamboat, the Mid-Atlantic title. This comes from May of 1981, PWI. What I'm going to do, first time ever, on the bonus episode, I'm going to actually call Reggie. I'm going to call my brother, and we are going to talk about, and I'm going to let him talk about, because this was his favorite mag as a kid. And so you saw my favorite mag back in 1979 with Ricky Steamboat, the inspiration for the Wrestler Weekly logo. But Ricky Steamboat, Mid-Atlantic title, he's going to talk about it on the bonus episode. Now, before I leave, and before I lose my voice, it is storming and raining here. Thoughts and prayers, speaking of, go out to Houston and the flooding. And then I'm in Myrtle Beach, so we're anticipating what's going to happen with Irma. And so what I'm going to do, and I've got some props here, but this is Brian Pillman, and here's a Hogan. What else we got down here? Let's see. We've got a Goldberg. This is from 1999. Here's a Shawn Michaels. But my good buddy Tommy Wildfire Rich, we were talking yesterday, and he said, "Man, you got too much. You got too many wrestling memorabilia. You need to just start selling some stuff." And so I said, "Well, I don't like to sell my stuff, but here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to send out information for VIP, Wrestler Weekly VIP. It's on our website right now. It's just been updated, how you can become a VIP member of Wrestler Weekly. And I'm going to start giving away some of my memorabilia. So go out there, check it out. Thanks for joining me this week. Wrestler Weekly presents 1981. We'll see you next week for 1982. And guess what? we're going to have part 1 and part 2. I got too many magazines in 1982. We got to split it in 2 shows. Have a good one.